off of a
Everything he say he do. Trump is gangster. Remember,
Can you give me one thing you don't like about Trump?
what I don't like about him? I love everything about
I know,
Trump.
because it's a cult. Thank you.
It's not a cult. I'm
a
from
cult.
No, it's not
It's
a cult. Everything is a cult if you want to think about it.
Okay.
Everything is a cult.
To somebody in a cult, that's probably true, yeah.
Someone that's representing and
Flags
Kamala,
up, baby.
Kumala, whatever her name
Flags
is, she
up.
out of here. Trump 24.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, so when I seen this video, I was extremely excited. I actually wanted to just like record throughout the whole thing, giving my opinions and reaction. But then I realized this video is almost 2 hours long. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. That'd be like a 3.5 hour, maybe 4 hours of content. And I just don't got that kind of time. But I found 3 interesting moments throughout this video. And I'm talking about on Jubilee, which, you know, say what you want about that. But it's one Democrat versus 25 Trump voters featuring Destiny. And say what you want about Destiny, but I think he is an ally, and the way that he debates and even just his foundation of beliefs, we can agree on at least 90% of the time. You know, it might be little outliers or some stupid things that he's said, but for most of what he believes or tries to push, we can agree with. You know, someone doesn't have to be 100% perfect for us to like be buddies with, but we just need people that align as much as possible with what we believe in to continue to progress forward. We can't alienate ourselves just because they don't believe in one or two things. Like, no, that's not how team building works. So without further ado, because this might take a nice minute, let's go ahead and get into the video. This first question here, Donald Trump is unfit to be U.S. president. And boy, oh boy, I wish I could just go through the whole thing, but it's some crazy moments. So let's take a look.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you, Dusty?
Pretty good.
See you again.
Yeah.
So, you don't think Donald Trump is fit for office based on January 6th.
Among other things, yeah.
However, we have to admit that January 6th was compromised. There were patriots and there was Antifa. There were people who were, yes, there were.
there were not.
I have video of it. Don't argue don't argue me, because I actually have video of people who were on the ground, I have video of people in Black Bloc getting dressed up in MAGA gear.
Okay.
And
it's
according
1420.
to
First of all, you
to-
don't have the video, but let's see how long
I
it
do
takes.
have the video.
Who
And
was the
according-
first person to break into the Capitol? Was it Antifa?
It was an Antifa person. Yes, it was.
You're wrong.
And it's actually, if you read Andy No's book about Antifa
I don't need to
Unmasked,
read Andy
it
No's
actually
book.
talks about how they use the premise of a broken window to then allow other people to come in, because people are a mass, they're a group, they're like a herd of cows, and when there's a broken window, they don't see anything wrong with walking into a building if the window's already broken.
I thought conservatives were the party of law and order.
Okay, now when I heard that logic, when I heard that strain, that the string of words being put together, I was flabbergasted, if that's the proper word to use in that moment. Like, I was just stumped. Like, if I'm, and I think he's gonna say it here, if I'm walking down the street and I see a bank getting robbed and or a money truck, you know, the bank trucks that's driving, if I see that, you know, people been shot and they ran into the truck and money's just everywhere, right? Am I just gonna walk over there and just take some money? Would that be legal for me to do? No. If I see someone's house being broken in, is it just like, do I just go in, start stealing stuff because someone broke a window and obviously someone broke into it? So like, is it fair game at that point? No, it's not. A little common sense, I swear to you guys, will go a long way. Okay? If just like your mama told you, is if somebody is willing to jump off a cliff, are you going to jump with them? The answer should be no. And if you say yes, or maybe, kind of, sort of, then maybe you need to stay home. You need to get help and stay home. All right? That simple.
You were
Use this-
outside somebody's house and you saw somebody breaking
Oh,
in.
yeah.
You could walk in
This
afterwards?
example is even continued through BLM and the riots
We're not
of
talking about
2020.
BLM
But
right now.
The
Although I'm glad it
pattern
took
is
us
the same.
40 seconds. It's not
the
the
pattern
same
in
pattern.
2020 is the same that happened in January 6th, where you had innocent people moving into a facility that they didn't know that it was wrong because the doors were already open. So you're already.
There was
and we also
broken
have the
glass
other
on the
gentleman-
floor.
We also have the other
There was
gentleman
doors that were being broken into.
Yes, by people
Everybody
who were
knew when
dressed
they
up
were going
as
in there.
MAGA. We're not MAGA.
Oh,
you
okay.
have
So
that-
were all of the indictments and the convictions for people like Enrique Tarrio, for Stuart Rhodes, all
So-
these people that have been
so
directly
then
involved,
which
all the
one
video
these
footage
people-
of
which one of
breaking-
these people was his commander? Name one of the commanders of the insurrection.
Enrique Tarrio was the CEO of the Proud Boys. Stuart Rhodes was the
Is
CEO.
he a commander?
was the-
Is he a commander in the
I don't know what their
insurrection?
official military
name the
roles
lieutenant in
were.
the insurrection.
Why do I have to
Any-
name the
An insurrection is going to have people like commanders, generals, captains, people.
No. What? Don't think so. An insurrection just involves a group of people, usually citizens, trying to overthrow whatever government is oppressing or whatever the situation is. I don't think, what are they going to do? Like have elections themselves and, appoint who's going to be general and vice general and state of treasury? Like, no, it doesn't have to follow that. I read the definition. It doesn't say anything about it needs to be an organized of ranking systems and like no, you made that up. Don't do that. It's not a good look.
No, it doesn't
Yes,
need
it
to
does.
at all. But the Proud
Absolutely
Boys
it
had a
does.
leadership
Yes, it
structure.
does.
If you'd like, you
Because
can go and
there is-
read the
because
indictments. You
there
can find the
was
structure.
There was no leadership structure. It can't be an insurrection if there is no leadership structure. You can't even name one of Donald Trump's commanders in this.
I don't
And then
need.
this
They're
gentleman-
all
this
listed in the
gentleman
indictments. I already
told
gave you the
that
CEO of the
that
Proud
Donald
Boys.
Trump-
They're the ones that
Donald
broke in.
Trump made 4 tweets, and those 4 tweets didn't even make it out of his sphere because they were immediately suppressed by the media.
They weren't
That is-
suppressed
yes,
at all.
They were
He
deleted.
sat-
they
they
were
were- no, they
deleted.
weren't. You're
They were
lying. You
deleted
can
by
go and
Twitter.
see those tweets
He
still.
brought them out on stage on his town hall and said, "Look, here are the tweets that you deleted." How do you explain that other than
do you
a
explain-
fascist?
And I couldn't, when I first seen this, because I kind of seen this video almost 3 times, but I couldn't find that video of Trump in the town hall after January 6th saying, here's tweets that I tried to post, but Twitter deleted them. Because I think that would be a very bigger conversation to have. Like, if he was trying to tell people, get the hell out of there, you don't be trying to threaten people or kill people, you need to leave immediately, I think that would be bigger news than just like letting it all slide. But I mean, let me know if it's out there.
I can
Who
explain.
doesn't
I can,
want
I
Donald
can
Trump?
explain. Yeah, the calls for peace came 3 hours.
No, they
while
didn't.
he wait. So do
He
you
just
wait?
told you
Do you
that it came
acknowledge?
22
Do you
minutes.
acknowledge that Donald Trump sat in his room for 3 hours before he told people to go home, watching the
Donald
violence
Trump
unfold?
gave a speech.
You won't answer a question.
Donald Trump gave
I don't
a
care.
speech.
I don't care.
You don't care about the facts
I don't.
then.
No. I'm the one. I'm asking a very simple question.
don't care
can't
about
answer.
facts.
I can answer your question if you answer my question. Do you acknowledge that he sat for 3 hours?
No, he didn't sit
watching,
for 3 hours because he gave a speech during those 3 hours.
No, at the very
Yes, he
end,
did.
he went after the ellipse speech was done. He went back to the White House, and then he sat in a room with a Diet Coke, and he watched the violence
How do
unfold.
you-
Wait, is he? I'm sorry. Is he wearing heels? Okay, I did not see that. Holy smokes. Okay, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. Do your thing, pimping. It just kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
How do you know this?
Because it's accounted
Were you
for
there?
by like testimony.
Were you there?
How do you know what's happening at the border? What's happening in China? Are you there? What do you mean?
Actually, this gentleman is actually.
Hold on. Are you? I'm sorry. Is your claim that the only way that you can know something is if you personally
But you're
witnessed
making
it?
these claims that he sat there. And
I'm
did
making this
nothing.
claim
When
based
I'm
on
telling you
hundreds of
that he
hours
tweeted
of
over and
deposition
over again,
testimony
tell his
by people
supporters
that have
to
been
go
in
home
front of a
patriotically
number of
and
courts, in
peacefully.
front of the J6 committee, in front of the media, in front of the.
Okay,
there are so
pause.
many different people that are willing to testify to all of this.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Thank
Please
And yes, you don't have to be there in order to have credible other sources that are testifying something happened. What is difficult about that statement? You don't have to be everywhere at every single time to verify something with your own eyes. Because guess what? The person who's not there is just going to say you're a liar. Point in case right there. So I don't know. When it comes to this whole January 6th thing, like, Destiny is right. I even, have a little timeline of everything that happened, and it was like a little less than 3 hours, but essentially if you just want to round up 3 hours, and so much has happened. I think her name is Angie or Angela. She got killed. And just so many crazy other things had happened in between, and Trump did very little to nothing to mitigate that or to prevent it. I don't know, but either here or there, and it's not really worth talking to idiots about that. Let's go to 1317.
That and
You've been voted out by the.
All right, this one is Donald Trump is a fascist, and is he? Yes, he is.
Hi,
I'm Tia. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
So I wanted to hone in on the part about nationalism. Can you explain that again in a little bit more detail?
Sure. So I would say more ultranationalism than just nationalism, but it's this idea that, basically screw the rest of the world. We're going to hardcore cut immigration. We're going to hardcore cut our trade. We're going to hardcore cut our association with anybody else. And we're just going to be like our own little, basically, island nation. I think it's a very bad direction to go in.
And who's taking us in that direction?
I think that's what Donald Trump wants to do.
Wants to do. He was in office for 4 years. Did he do that?
Well, Donald Trump began some tariff processes. He tried to
So
do a
he
full
didn't do
Muslim
that for
ban.
4 years,
He tried.
but he's
Well,
gonna
he
do
took
that now,
steps towards
right?
that. He took steps
So
towards
I'm
that, right?
curious,
You acknowledge.
And I would even go as far as say that he had people that prevented him from doing that, or preventing him from going through with it, or hopefully just lied to him and say, hey, we can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, I guess we can't just deport all Americans. Like, I don't know, but from a lot of the testimonies of people he appointed to be in these positions and then decided to leave, saying that, hey, we actually had to tame him from doing a lot of crazy other bullshit that he was trying to do. So yeah.
That he did try to
You're
he
an
banned 7
American?
Muslim majority countries, right?
You're a U.S.
He did do
citizen?
that. He did
You
do
were born
tariffs. You
here?
acknowledge that, right?
Do you
And
like
he did
being an
undermine
American?
NATO. He
Are
threatened
you
that,
glad to
yes.
be able to live here?
I'm glad to be able to live here. I'm glad to be an American. I am, but I don't know what that means to you. But to me,
Which is interesting because
yeah.
something that I've started to realize in the last few years is people who love America, who love living here, have been titled nationalists, and it's like a threat all of a sudden.
People that label themselves MAGA that say they love America have nothing to do with American values and nothing in common with the core values of this country. So they are the
Please
least
explain.
American people.
Please explain.
Sure, the desire to elect somebody who says the most obviously fascist things in the world, like the media is the enemy of the people, a guy who says he wants to terminate the Constitution, a guy who says he'd be a dictator on
Who's
day one.
terminating the
Donald Trump said that
Constitution?
he believes he could terminate the Constitution because of
It's
voter
so
fraud.
crazy because I've been hearing a lot lately from your side that the Constitution isn't necessary.
Oh, I'm
Now, what Destiny is about to do is vitally important when having these conversations, because whenever we say Trump said X, Y, and Z, either they say they don't believe it or he didn't say that, but they immediately pivot to, well, Democrats want to do this or Democrats want to do that, or they said this and act like, and it's like, well, who? What government official? Not some Looney Tunes on Twitter. Like, I'm talking about government official that actually have the authority to create laws and legislation to F up your life, essentially. I want to know what that person said, but take a listen.
Crazy because I've been hearing a lot lately from your side that the Constitution isn't necessary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which lawmaker or presidential candidate said that?
Your side.
Which is that the name first and last? Your side,
Yeah.
like Miss Side, or is she a
Yeah.
congressman, or is she a
Your
senator, or I don't know which leader has said that, so I can't speak to that. I don't know who you
So
follow on
anyways,
Twitter, so I can't
as
speak
an
to that.
American,
And she said, so anyways, like, you know you messed up. You know you done messed up when you try to pivot away from your own question. You asked the question. Now you're like, well, okay, whatever. Anyways, like, no, there's no whatever. There's no anyways. You brought up the question, so you tell me who said that, not just your side. That doesn't mean nothing. That doesn't say anything. I swear, like, Destiny did this for almost 2 hours. What, a minute and 7 seconds away from 2 hours? God bless his soul. Because I can't stand commenting to people on my YouTube videos. I can't stand that sometimes, and I have a choice in that. You know, so for Destiny to do this for 2 hours, bro, that's more man than me, because I couldn't deal with it. Couldn't
Okay.
But
do
anyway,
it.
you acknowledge Donald Trump said that in times of like great peril, you can suspend the Constitution, and that he would do that for voter fraud.
For voter fraud?
He said that, yes, on Truth Social. He said that.
And there it is right there. Right there. Nice and pretty factual checking right there. Woo!
I'm sure there's a longer quote that I can look up later. I would love to
Okay.
do that, but I'm sure you're using it out of context.
Okay, you'll look it up later, and you won't ever talk about it again because it's an important quote. You
Oh,
acknowledge
because
Donald
you
Trump
know
said
me
that.
so well.
Because you're on that side, I know.
Okay.
You agree that Donald Trump said that he would be a dictator on day one?
He did not say he would be a dictator on day one.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So as an American,
There you go. Just deny, deny, deny. If you like, she must have a good lawyer, or she must be a lawyer herself, because deny, deny, deny. It wasn't true. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. It can't be true, right?
I believe that it's a privilege and a blessing to live here. And under the Biden and Harris administration, my life has gotten a lot worse and a lot more difficult. Has your life gotten better, or has it gotten worse?
I'd say my life has gotten better.
Well, congratulations. You're the only person in this room, maybe. But
Why are they like so surprised by that? Destiny has like almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He streams on, I don't think he streams on Twitch, but he has some other, I'm pretty sure he has some other deals, whatever the case is. He's probably making pretty good money. And unfortunately, if you're making a certain amount of money, you're not going to be really concerned with common folk problems. All right, his probably biggest problem was like, what third car is he going to buy? And folks like us barely can change the oil in our car on time. So to say, be like, oh my God, oh, he's not struggling like us. Like no, like he's making money. And for someone to support Trump and to be along with these tax cuts that will give you very little, if not nothing, and actually give people like Destiny more money, you should be kind of upset about that. Because he said he's not struggling. So people who are not struggling should not be getting tax breaks. People like us should be the ones getting those tax breaks. However those look, we should be getting them. But not people who say, I'm okay, I'm chilling, bruh. You struggling, but I'm chilling over here. And people are like, oh my God, but we should continue to give tax cuts to the rich. Like, bro, get out of here.
But when I go to the grocery store, and you mentioned about inflation and everything, but when I go to the grocery store and a bag of groceries is like $50 and I have 2 kids to feed, do you think that that helps me as an American,
Here
or
we
do
go.
you think that hurts me as an American?
I think an expansion of the child tax credit would help you a lot more than another tax cut for wealthy billionaires.
A couple $1,000s isn't going to change my life, especially when
Another $6,000 a year wouldn't help you at all with groceries.
with 2 children.
Yeah?
This much maybe, but if the
What
price
are your
of
children
groceries-
eating?
Okay, pause. You've been
What are your, no, I really want to know. Are you just cooking prime steak every single day? Lobster tails and stuff? Caviar? Whatever that is. I honestly don't know what it is. It's like some sort of like shrimp or something. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's expensive. I don't know. I got 3 kids myself and only one income, and I take care of my family, pay my bills by myself. So if you can't do it with 2 kids and an extra $6,000, that's what, $500 each month? That can go a long way. And honestly, beggars should not be choosers. $500 is better than $5. And $5 is better than no dollars, as I like to put it. So once again, he answered her question with a Harris policy, and she just, oh, that's nothing. But giving tax cuts to the rich, that's your solution, right? All right, great job, guys. 146. Oh, this guy was hilarious. This is not in the schedule, but we're gonna watch him real quick. This is the MAGA movement would not exist without massive amounts of disinformation. This guy was
Number one,
hilarious.
I'm a MAGA gangster.
Ooh.
I'm outside when it comes to Trump. Have you ever been to a rally?
Yes,
That's number one.
fortunately,
I don't know
yeah.
if you book smart or
I've
if
been to
you're
rallies
really
before.
outside, because
I've
I'm
been to
outside.
rallies, yep.
I'm outside. And you basically said MAGAs thrive off of lies. First of all, you ever seen a Trump rally? You don't see all of the unity and love out there?
Nope, I see things
You don't
saying
see
like
unity
deport all
and
the
love.
immigrants, and I see more MAGA flags, and I see
All
and
right,
I
so
see American
you support,
flags.
all right, let me ask you this. You
Yeah.
support Black Lives Matter?
Not that much.
But Black Lives Matter only when media put it out. That's number one.
He just said he doesn't. So okay, like we're just gonna continue with the conversation, even though he said he doesn't agree. Okay, got you.
Trump is bringing a lot of unity and love. You support burning and looting. That's what.
But Trump, and I'm sorry if I'm positive, but it's just so much dumbness just flowing through his face right now. Trump literally said that Americans are the enemy within. What kind of unity is that, bruh? I don't understand. He said leftists are the enemy within. Enemy with so are we trying to unify with the enemies? Okay, I'm gonna hurt myself trying to think too hard about the stupidity coming out of
what
this
you
face.
support.
Don't
And
think
it
that's what I
tripped me
support at
out
all, but-
how you could support
Yeah.
someone that just want the world to just go crazy, burning and looting. And I heard you say something earlier that's crazy. You said you hate America. Talk about that.
I don't think I ever said I hate America.
Yes, you did. And
When did I say I hate
and
America?
it made me look at you even
When did I
more.
say I hate-
You
over-
did
in what- in what
you said it
context?
earlier. You said it earlier.
I don't
And
think
he did say it earlier, but he said it in a rhetorical way. He said it just to be a smart ass. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like, I honestly really hate America. Like, no, he did not say that. But I mean, he said it, but not in that context. But
think
whatever.
so. I
hate
think
America.
I said that
that's why
I
Trump is
like
gonna make
America. I
America
like
great
America.
again.
I don't think
Trump
MAGA people like America. I don't think you guys have any idea what it means to be American. I don't think you know what American values are. I don't think you know what this country was founded or built upon. And I think you guys are obsessed with a cult leader who is taking the entire
leader?
Republican Party off of a cliff.
Everything he say he do. Trump is gangster. Remember.
Can you give me one thing you don't like about
Hey, okay. I don't think anyone. Okay, maybe he's from a different town than I am, but you wearing a dog choker with a popsicle, you know, one of those little rocket popsicles as a hat with a snake's print jacket with blonde hair? Bruh, I don't know what gangster is anymore nowadays. Like maybe that's a younger generation thing, but you can't be claiming anything somebody isn't or is gangster and you looking like that, bruh. I mean, I'm no judge of fashion, you know, but if somebody's saying they gangster, look like, all right, man, do your thug dizzle,
Republican
bruh.
Party off of a cliff?
Everything he say he do. Trump is gangster. Remember.
Can you give me one thing you don't like about Trump?
What I don't like about him? I love everything about.
I know,
Trump.
because it's a f***ing cult. Thank you.
It's not a cult. I'm
a cult.
No, it's not
That's a cult.
Everything is a cult if you want to think about it.
Okay.
Everything is a cult.
So
That's
to
the
somebody
case.
in a cult, that's probably
He-
true,
he's-
yeah.
He's someone that's representing and
Flags
Kamala,
up, baby.
Kumala, whatever her name
Flags
is, she
up.
out of here. Trump 2024.
All right.
Let's
All right.
go.
Oh my God, man. These people are hilarious. I don't know what in the world is going on with people, man. I don't know. That was so weird. But this last portion here is, I guess, where Destiny chooses one person to have like a 10-minute conversation about blah, blah, whatever. So, and the guy that he's going to bring up actually was pretty decent in articulating his argument, even though his argument was like unfactual and just like nonsense, but the way he presented it was well. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Actually, you know what? This one, right over here. I chose you because you'll break my heart the most, because you sound somewhat reasonable, intelligent, but you just say the craziest things, and yeah, so now I'm just going to try to figure out for 10 minutes if you really believe it or if you're hardcore just carrying water for some political side.
So, Stephen, my claim is that President Biden should pardon President Trump. No matter who wins the election, President Biden ran on unity when he came and gave that inauguration speech on January 20th, 2021. He wanted to unify the country. The best way for President Biden to leave office is to pardon President Trump and to try to bring the country together. I think as a MAGA movement, 75 million people may look at Biden and say, look, we have our political disagreements with this guy. But the fact that he pardoned Trump, much like Gerald Ford did, much like there's examples in our country of folks reaching across the aisle and doing, at that point, I think you could probably argue that Trump has the authority to pardon himself. Largely, these cases will drop if he doesn't win the election. But I think it would be a very powerful signal for the unity of the country for President.
Okay, so when I first heard this, I almost, my first reaction was, that kind of makes sense. Like, can you imagine if Harris won the election and on day one as president, she just washed her hands of Trump, saying, hey, I'm going to pardon him and, you know, X, Y, and Z, make it sound official, whatever. My first reaction was that would like shock the world. And maybe that'd like convince those hardcore Republicans like it may not be as bad as I think it would be. I don't know, like something in me was like, I would like to see that. But how Destiny breaks that down, he changed my mind. I'm not going to be lying. It's like, oh, yeah, we can't let that dude slide, bro. Can't. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
President Biden to pardon him.
I think there are at least 3 really good reasons why that should absolutely never happen.
Okay.
So the first one is Donald Trump doesn't need to be pardoned because the Supreme Court's already said that the president can enjoy full and absolute criminal immunity when he's doing his job. So if he's already gotten that carve out from the Supreme Court, well, why should he need any more help to be pardoned for any other types of crimes, unless we're saying that he did crimes that weren't even part of the job of being the president? I would say that's the first one. Do you want to do the other two? Or do you want to go for it? Okay. The other two, the second one is I think that Donald Trump has done abhorrent things in the abusive office that I think he absolutely should be accountable for. I think that he should answer for these things. I think it's destructive to lead this idea that you can act above the law and get away with it. And I think for the third point, the idea that Democrats have to be the ones that continue to come to the table and be like, okay, we're going to do this, or okay, we're going to try to heal, and okay, we're going to do unity. When you've got Biden up here, you know, saying like, I'm going to be a president for everybody, I'm going to do unity, and then Donald Trump is saying things like immigrants are the poison to the lifeblood of this nation, and like crazy stuff like this. Like the back and forth of conservatives being unhinged and Democrats having to like apologize for behavior. I don't like the double standard anymore. I don't think you can exist inside of it.
So, and I 100% agree with that. And unfortunately, it's like at some point when your kids is acting up at the store, you know, you go to Ross and your kids are just pulling clothes off the hangers. They're screaming and yelling at you, calling you stupid and all that. And my kids would never do that. You know, I raised my kids proper, but you know how some people's kids be acting crazy. If you continue to allow that to happen, they're only going to get worse. Some kids, maybe, I'm sure, might kind of correct themselves, be like, oh, I probably shouldn't be acting like that. But until that parent punishes their kids or kid, they're going to continue to act like that because they never had no repercussions to like hint that they shouldn't be acting like that in public. So the same thing with the Republican Party, because please trust, when Trump is gone, and if he loses and he's gone, it's going to be more imitations of Trump. Just like the imitation crab is not really crab, but it kind of tastes and feels like crab. We're going to have a bunch of imitation Trumps. And with the rhetoric that they spew, they have to get even crazier to get attention. Because if they keep it at the crazy at an 8, you're going to get outshined by someone who's kicking the crazy to a 9. So you got to do crazy at a 10, and it's only going to get more crazy. So I think at some point, the Democratic Party, if it gets to that position, they have to be the party of law and order. And if you break the law, you have to pay the cost. Right? And what's the biggest example of an ex-president actually having to pay for his wrongs? I think that would set a good precedence from here on out. Hey, you do the time or you do the crime, you're going to do the time regardless. So it makes sense.
Okay, let's talk about President Biden and the unity claim. You do agree that he ran on the platform of unity, and
Absolutely.
that was the theme of his inauguration.
Yes.
We can both agree
Yep.
on that, right, Stephen?
Yep.
When he called MAGA Republicans a threat to democracy, was that a sign of unity?
That speech absolutely is. And
Really?
Yes.
Why
if you
so?
read the whole speech, he says over and over again, in a totally pointless manner, because, and I'm aware, because I'm part of the TikTok culture as well, he said over and over again, not even most Republicans are MAGA Republicans. When he said MAGA Republicans, he was talking about the subsection of people that deny the results of the last election, that don't even believe in things like institutions or peaceful transfers of power or the country operating as like a cohesive unit. He spells out over and over again that he's not talking about all conservatives, but people just clip that one line and then the picture with the red behind him and say, oh my God, look at what he was saying.
As a matter of fact, though, 72% of Republicans believe that there were serious issues in the 2020 election, just as a matter of
but
empirical
why do they
fact.
believe that?
Well, but just as a matter of empirical fact. So you've got 70% of 75 million people believe that. You are still making a very wide and sweeping statement about working class Americans, black, white, Hispanic Americans, saying that they're a threat to democracy.
I don't know if all of them necessarily don't believe like hardcore that there was like voter rigging as opposed to the media was biased or something, because Trump kind of used to dance around those claims.
Sure.
But for as much as people believe that there were issues with the election, it's because Donald Trump told them. That's it. Like, and a lot of the lies that started out in the Trump camp, we know now were completely and wholly fabricated. Everything having to do with that State Farm video was a total lie from the very beginning. Everything having to do with Dominion voting machines was a total lie from the very beginning.
Amen.
There are so many of these claims that when you look at the genesis of them, they were either fabricated or were maliciously constructed.
But doesn't President Biden have an obligation to be a president for all Americans, even those who vehemently disagree with him?
When you say vehemently disagree, yes. But for people that don't believe in the results of the election, this is the issue, is that conservatives have pushed the boundaries of what you can tolerate in a society that can function together, right? If a conservative wants to come out and say, I think that we need small government and I don't believe in the government, providing all this relief and all this or whatever, and I think we should have small government or whatever, okay, I disagree with that, that's fine, whatever. We can still exist together and we can argue, okay? But when people are saying, I'm not, there was a phone call into a radio show where the guy's talking about his father-in-law is turning away FEMA because he thinks that FEMA is gonna steal his house. We are breaking down institutions to a point to where we can't function. We need institutions as much as we might hate them. We need them to function, and conservatives spend every breath undermining them, and that is becoming dysfunctional. I don't know what you're
Exactly.
supposed to do in that circumstance.
Well, I think what you can do is, and I'm not saying this isn't without risk, there's certainly some negative optics to it, but I would say that that gesture, I'll tell you, you take away the ammunition from one side if you say, I'm going to extend the olive branch. And by the way, even if it's purely ceremonial and symbolic, even if the president can end up pardoning himself, even if President Trump wins, then the question becomes, why doesn't Biden do that as a symbol of genuine unity? Genuine unity.
I
Stephen.
don't think there is an olive branch that would be accepted. I don't think anybody would see it as any type of. I think that arguably, I've seen back and forth on this, that Merrick Garland probably dragged his feet on prosecuting Trump and
Yes, sir.
appointing Jack Smith and all the charges that were filed. And that was a massive mistake, that he shouldn't have waited on that should have been something he moved much quicker on. But because of this obsession with liberals and the media to appear unbiased and to be nice to both sides and to treat both sides equally, even when, in my opinion, obviously one side is acting far more recklessly, it's destroying the country. We talked about Israel-Palestine earlier. We can talk about like children in the store. When somebody is acting inappropriately or they're acting out of line or they're behaving in a way that is unsustainable, that behavior has to be brought in line somehow. You cannot run a ship when half the people are trying to row in the other direction. And right now, conservatives are undermining every single facet of this country. And I don't know how we're supposed to function in that environment, right? Where we say like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and pardon Trump. What if we pardon Trump and then he just commits more crimes? Or what if we pardon Trump and then the next Republican president goes, well, I can probably get away with it because they're going to cuck out for unity in the end, so it'll be great, right? What do you do at that point?
Hey, bars, like straight bars. There's no better way to explain that. You can't defend that if you continue to reward the Republican Party on how they're acting, and they can see that you don't have to run on policy, you don't have to run on trying to, build relationships with the other side, because you're gonna have to create legislation with these people. But the only thing you have to do is talk crazy, demonize, humiliate, marginalize your opponent, demonize, continue to demonize black and brown people, immigrants, like the whole nine. Like, that's all you have to do to become president? Anyone can do that, So like, at some point, we have to bring things back to center. Things have gotten too far crazy, and unfortunately, it's more crazy on one side. Let's just be honest, and the other side, Democrats, cannot crumble. They cannot give in, because you're only going to create a bigger problem in the next 4 years or 2 years.
I disagree with you on conservatives threatening the country. I would even say that Democrats don't threaten the country. I think most Americans want a secure border, an economy that works for everybody, good education. To your point about, quibbles over tax policy and regulation, do you believe that a supporter of the deportation of illegal migrants falls into that category of a radical conservative?
I think that's a radical position, but I don't think that's like a beyond the pale position.
Okay.
I think it's done for a variety of reasons, but no, I don't think it's beyond the pale.
Right. And I mean, look, Axios Ipsos found this in April, that 55% of Americans, not just conservatives, Americans support the mass deportation of illegal migrants. 46% of Democrats do. Why do you think that is when you look at places?
I don't understand where some of these folks get their polling. And that's why I don't obsessed over like pollings of questionnaires to Democrats or Republicans. Like, because I've never been approached about anything, about any questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm pretty sure it might be reasons why. Like, I live in Colorado. Like, it's a fairly blue state, but I don't support that. Like I don't understand where they get that polling from. And I might just throw in a poll on my YouTube channel on who would support that. And I would be surprised if it's close to like 50-50. Like, because one, that would take in millions of dollars. I think someone even said, quoted billions, and then that would only do extreme harm to our economy. And people are complaining about high prices now, and you want to go through that 10 times worse for what? Because you don't like immigrants? Like, I don't understand people's thinking here when it comes to like reality, not a TV show, not a video game. Like, your livelihood could be at stake because you just want people out of here. That's not how that works, So
It's like Chicago and New York. Why longtime
I think it can be for a
Democrats?
variety of reasons, but again, this isn't an issue. It's like the minimum wage. I think that we probably need a minimum wage, but I don't think that agreeing or disagreeing on this makes you un-American. Same thing with like abortion,
Right.
which is way more charged. I don't think it makes you un-American. Things like immunity for crimes for the president, that's a deeply un-American value, that the president can't be charged with criminal behavior, even in the role of his job. That, in my opinion, that's deeply un-American. The undermining of all the institutions, that America should have no role as like a world leader, that the way that we look at immigrants as enemies, or that we don't want to trade with anybody because you just want to, that these things are not, I wouldn't say the trade thing. I would say that like the immunity thing are a really big one. The idea of America needing to recede from the world is a big one. The idea of like the weaponizing of all of the DOJ that Trump wants to do. These are things that deeply concern me. Talking about terminating the Constitution and all of these things. Yeah.
So we can have our disagreements. There's a lot there we could pick up. We've only got
Sure.
a couple minutes
Pick
left.
one. Yeah, you're good. Or do
But you are an American. I'm an American. I believe that you love this country. I believe that you want the best.
Okay. Tell me, if you're watching this video and you're this far in, one, congratulations. You're a beautiful person, all right? But tell me, he doesn't sound like a young Vivek Ramaswamy, all right? Oh, I know that's not how you pronounce his last name, but whatever. Tell me he doesn't sound like a young Vivek.
You are an American. I'm an American. I believe that you love this country. I believe that you want the best for this country, the best for your family. Donald Trump wins on November 5th. Genuinely, what is one piece of advice you give him?
And this answer that he's about to give him is pretty daggone amazing, because I would have been a smart ass and said, hey, one piece of advice that I give you, quit. Resign. If they elect you, say you're not feeling well, make up some lie. You're pretty good at that. And just leave, because you are not fit. I would have said something stupid that just would have been boo, like people wouldn't have liked it. But his answer was pretty daggone good.
If Donald Trump wins, what is one piece of advice that you give him? Donald Trump, after he's gone, will have family members that remain in this world that carry his name through the world. He will have a legacy, he'll have a reputation, and that the way that he acts in his last 4 years as president will be remembered for the rest of history, for as long as America continues to exist, and that he has an opportunity in his second term at least to right some of the wrongs of the first term, or to prove people like me wrong, at least when I said that the United States would become an authoritarian hellhole or whatever else. That he has an opportunity to prove people like me wrong, and I hope that he would take advantage of that.
I think that'd be great. I think that would be great for the country, to tell you the truth. Is there one policy, one position that you agree with Donald Trump on, even remotely?
The problem is I just don't like his thought process. So there are going to be things that we agree on, but like we're going to agree on them for totally different
What's
reasons.
an example
I think.
of
Like in general, I'm not as big on like DEI or affirmative action type stuff. I think for a variety of reasons has a lot of different issues. I think that having a secure border is really important. Arguably one of the most important things about having a country is having a border. I think the Democrats like broadly agree with that as well. I think that yeah, I could probably find other things, but like our agreements are going to be very roundabout. We're not getting here the same way. But I think the creation of the Space Force was good. I obviously all the conservatives hate it, but I thought Warp Speed was a tremendous achievement of capitalism, of pharmaceuticals, of the United States and U.S. leadership. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I think the big picture though, and can we give him a round of applause?
No, I don't want a round of applause.
I don't want him to run him.
I'm a big believer, Stephen, that when we come together as a country and have conversations, difficult conversations like this, we may not walk away saying, well, I agree with Stephen, or I agree with James, or I agree with any of the folks here, but you walk away saying, that's a person, that's an American, we can disagree agreeably, and I might understand for just a moment their perspectives. I want to thank you for being here. I think that the biggest thing for the country going forward, in a sense, is how do we have more debate, not less, more disagreement, not less?
Unfortunately, I totally disagree with you.
Yeah.
I was there a while ago. It's not enough to just have conversations anymore. I think we have to start taking steps in an actual direction. I think right now we are talking ourselves off a ledge. And I notice a lot of times when I have challenging conversations with people, I get all of these comments that pop up, whether it's me talking to Peterson, Shapiro, Owens, of like, what a great civil conversation. But at the end of the day, nobody's mind comes away changed and everybody still feels the same way. And we're still accelerating off of each other faster than we ever have been before. But at least we're having good conversations on the way down to the base of the cliff, I guess.
Well, let me end.
That was beautiful. Like, even when young Vivek here tried to like do some weird like unifying like closing argument or something, Destiny still found a way to be like, nah, F all that, bruh. And it makes sense, because when you're trying to have these conversations in good faith, and even if you do have those good conversations, unfortunately, the people who are making these decisions are not trying to do that. And if old boy was trying to run for president, that'd be even better. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that's not how the conversation is going towards. Nothing is factual. Nothing is historical. Nothing matters in these conversations anymore. So why do we need to be cordial, and why do we need to like just, have a friendly conversation? Because trust me, myself, I'm beyond that. I tried, especially, green, wet behind the ears, trying to start a YouTube channel to have these, deep, genuine conversations with people. But then just to realize it's a lot of dummies out there. A lot of dummies. And unfortunately, I done lost my temper. I done lost my patience with people that don't care about facts, don't care about history, and don't care about substantive conversation. So I understand that, but once again, thank you for watching. If you watched this entire video, I appreciate you. I give you an internet hug. Okay, there. All right, there you go. Once again, if you disagree with anything that I said in this video, hit the Discord link down below so we can have that one-on-one talk, or let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. And like always, let's have that conversation.